Hey everybody, what's up? You can pretty much see what's on the screen here. And this is basically my thoughts, if you will. You gotta excuse me, I got a cough drop in my mouth. But this is basically my thoughts on this whole situation when it comes to the redesign of the Satam characters and I guess some of the comic characters as well. Now, you take a look at this, and this is done by Jay Foxfire. And I know, Jay, you're probably watching this. And this is to answer her question and anybody else's questions as to why these changes are happening to the characters. Well, you see, ever since Sally's redesign was introduced at the New York Comic Con last October, a lot of people, when they first looked at it, like Jay did and many others, the first thing that their perception perceived of it was it made her look younger. And there's no doubt that it does make her look younger. Now, what you see here is Jay Foxfire's interpretation of what she feels the design should look like. I mean, the design that you see at the New York Comic Con, it's white gloves with blue white gloves with blue bracelets, if you will, bracelets. The shoes are very similar, but like I say, white gloves with blue wristbands or bracelets, if you will, and the entire vest here all sky blue. There's no dark blue or anything in between. Now, a lot of people, when they first saw this, like I said, the perception of what they saw was she looked younger. And pretty much this started a kind of a fear that many of them have. And that fear, again, was from what they had is from the perception they saw, and what they perceive is going to be the result of the redesign. You see, what they're perceiving the redesign is going to do is change her personality, and as well as the other redesigns are going to change the personality of all the other characters. Well, let me correct you people on this. I don't think any of the personalities are going to change. Because if you take a look at Bunny Rabbit DeCoolit's silhouette at the end of issue 49 of Sonic Universe, which of course is the final issue of the Chaotix story arc, it does look like she's got a Segified, as they've been calling it, redesign. But when you look at the eyes, there's an old saying there's an old saying of the eyes tell the story. And to me, when I looked at her eyes, I may have saw a redesign in the silhouette, but the eyes told me that it's still the same bunny. It's still the same Bunny Rabbit DeCoolit. It's still the same character. It's still the same personality. So to me, when I saw Sally's redesign, which Ian Flynn has also come out and said was just a teaser of what probably could be finalized and what is still in the works. To me, I looked at the face, I looked at the eyes, and I said, you know what? She may be different and all that, but it's still Sally. I could still see that it's going to be Sally. It's still going to be the same personality and all that. But again, a lot of people that first saw this that are either okay with the redesign and are against the redesign, those that are okay with it and against it, the one thing that they have in common, like I said, is they're afraid it's going to change her personality. And again, I don't think the personality is going to change that much. I really don't. I don't think the personality is going to change whatsoever. Now, those that support the redesign and everything and kind of feel the same way I do are basically kind of trying to tell others, look, you're taking it way out of context. You don't know exactly the reason behind it, why it's happening or whatsoever. And that might be true. That might be true. No one really knows. My thoughts on it, and this is just my opinion, but my opinion and thoughts on it are, I look at what Ian Flynn said. He said there's more going on with the redesigns. There's more going on with the redesigns than just what we see. Or he said something along those lines. And what that tells me is I think he's got something of a story arc planned that's going to coincide with these redesigns. Let me explain. You see, throughout this, even though I get the issues, but I haven't been reading them, from what I understand from all the summaries and reviews and even some of the scans that people post, from what I can understand and from what I can see, it seems that the after effects of the Genesis event are slowly now starting to affect the characters. I mean, yes, they affected maybe portions of the planet and all that, but as far as the main characters go, it's starting to probably slowly affect them. It's starting to slowly affect how they look. I'm thinking that might be the reason for the redesigns. Not because it's mandated, not because it's to update them and modernize them, which many people would say is probably the best option if you want to keep them relevant and keep them going. But in my honest opinion, I feel that there's going to be something within the story that's going to explain why it's happening. And in my honest opinion, I feel that it has to do with the aftermath of Genesis. And that is why we're getting the redesigns. That maybe storyline-wise, and again, this is just my opinion, these are my thoughts, that storyline-wise, the main characters are starting to slowly get affected, or being slowly affected by the aftermath. In other words, the aftermath is starting to slowly cause them to kind of get made over, be redesigned. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. I used to watch Beast Wars as much as I could back in the 90s. And every season there was always an event that caused the characters to get redesigned. And of course it was to also tie into the new toy line and all that, that's true. But it also was basically to give the characters a redesign. And again, like I said, it was always an event that did that throughout the second seasons and the second season and the third season. There was always some kind of event that changed a majority of the characters or a few characters and gave them a new look, gave them a new redesign. Excuse me. Mucus. Don't you just hate it? But like I was saying, there was always some kind of an event throughout those seasons that caused a majority of the characters, if not some of the characters, to have a redesign. And like I said, yeah, it tied in. It tied in to the to the whole toy line the issuing of the new toys and everything in the toy line, but still, you had the redesigns. Now, as far as the spin-off Beast Machines, you could have kept the characters the way they were from Beast Wars, but they redesigned them for Beast Machines. Kind of get what I'm saying? In other words, they kept redesigning them so they would stay relevant, so they would stay updated, so they would be updated with the show, but also stay relevant. In other words, people would know who they are, the fans would know who they are, but the newer fans that would come in and watch it would get introduced to them because of what they saw in the toys, at places like Toys R Us or Walmart or wherever. So that's basically what I see here, what I see going on here. Basically, the redesigns, in my opinion, could have something to do with the after effects of Genesis. Now, don't depend. What's the old saying? Oh, don't quote me on that though, but because I don't know if I'm right or wrong. You know, it's just my opinion. But of course, the big elephant in the room. But of course, the elephant in the room is to why even do it? I mean, some people like Game Boy Sage has come out and said, hey, after 20 years, why change something that doesn't need to be changed? Why fix which does not need to be fixed? X. Or as the old saying goes, if it's not broken, why fix it? Well, that's true. All of that is true. All of that has to be taken into consideration. But again, the elephant that's in the room, if you will, is the fans of the games. The fans of the games that always constantly ask and complain and say that the comics should be more about the games, be more about the game characters. In other words, they'd rather have, in other words, we're talking about fans that would rather have an issue that's like the first level of a game. Like, oh, Sonic's going to pass this level. Turn to the next page. Oh, he passed it. It says to be continued next issue. Ooh, we got to get the next issue, see if he passes that level. Those kind of fans. And basically the way Archie and Sega and maybe even Ian Flynn perceive it, well, mostly Archie and Sega, is that if you're going to get the game fans who are kind of indifferent about characters like Sally or against them, if you're going to get them to like them and get behind them, you need to make them look like they're from the games. And from that perception of both Archie and Sega, that's the reason for the redesigns. Basically to attract the game fans and get those game fans behind these characters, to get behind these characters as if they're the kind of characters they would play in a game. And yeah, it's also to keep them relevant and updated. I get that. But it's also mostly to draw in those game fans who don't know about the characters, who have heard about them but don't really know much about them, to introduce them fully as if they're the kind of characters they would play in a game. And again, for those fans that don't like them and feel the comic should be about the game characters, in their minds, in Archie and Sega's minds, this allows them to probably turn those people's heads, that are those fans' heads, turn their opinions around and say, you know what, they look like they belong in the games. Maybe they're not so bad anymore. Maybe we can support them, kind of deal. So from a business sense, that's what Archie and Sega are doing, and that's why it's happening, whether we like it or not. But like Ian Flynn said, with Sally's redesign and probably the others, we don't know what the finalized looks are going to be like. So, you know, and again, this is Jay Foxfire's interpretation of what she feels it should look like, and I'm okay with it. Doesn't matter either way. So, let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like, video response if you like. Tell me what you guys think about the redesign, and do you agree with some of the things I said? And I will talk to you all later. You all have a good day. God bless. Take care.